You, to some degree, this book is really about you, isn't it? I mean, you were born in India, a Muslim in India, and then you go to public school, what is private school, public school in England, and you're both an outsider and an insider in both cultures.
Well, it's true to say my life has been defined by journeys, journeys, transcultural journeys, and this is a novel about a journey between cultures. So in that sense, yes. But the thing that actually interested me about writing it was, first of all, I think, I managed to find what I thought of as a great yarn, this kind of 16th century shaggy dog story about a Mughal princess ending up in Renaissance Italy and creating havoc, and maybe she's
The
a
most
witch.
beautiful woman in the world.
Yeah, well, amongst other things, yeah, but also a witch. See?
The Enchantress of Florence.
And one of the interesting things is that in this period, the idea of female beauty, the idea of erotic power, was very often linked to occult power, that women were believed to be often capable of more than simply sexual enchantment, but actually literal enchantment. And so that became an idea that I tried to develop and play with. But, in many ways, the great pleasure of writing the book was that the way people thought then is not the way we think now. So actually, the pleasure of going back into not just another world, but another way of seeing the world. A much more fantastic way, a way in which, as I say, the miraculous and the everyday coexisted.
So you include 5 pages of bibliography.
Yeah, I did.
And this is obviously based on history, and yet there is this magical realism element.
Well, of
but
course,
people see this as something that is modern or postmodern, when in fact you're suggesting it also has its roots in another time.
well, the great thing about the past is that it is true that the best stuff is stuff you couldn't make up. I mean, there was stuff that I stumbled on that I wouldn't have dared to make up. For instance, there's a moment when the Enchantress, the Mughal princess, is moving across the world. At this particular moment in the story, she's involved in a battle between the Persian Empire and the Ottoman Turkish Empire. And in doing the reading for this, I suddenly discovered, to my enormous joy, that the Ottomans at this point had been fighting a campaign against Dracula. At the moment at which I realized I could have Dracula in my novel, I kind of thought I'd died and gone to heaven, and this stuff just fell in my lap.
But there's also a suggestion that we will never totally be able to work out our cultural differences, especially in the light of the current tensions between the West and much of the Islamic world.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, but this is the two great, I think, defining ways of looking at human relations is the things that bring us together and the things that drive us apart. And they're always there. I mean, one of the things that I think is interesting, a lot of people have asked me whether this novel is really about now. And I said, I wasn't trying to do that. But the thing that is constant is human nature. If we were brutal then, we're brutal now. If we were treacherous then, we're treacherous now.
And how can you write about the past without bringing to it all your knowledge of everything that is
After all,
followed?
I'm writing from the present. So it is, in that sense, of course, it's about the present. But I don't like those books which underline that too much. I'd rather let the reader find echoes that satisfy them